What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is the Blacklist Season 9, Episode 4, The Avenging Angel. So, it's actually been a minute since I've watched this show, because I recorded a lot of stuff in advance. So, it took me a minute to kind of get caught back up and remember everything that was happening. But overall, I think this episode was fine. I think the Blacklister in it was an interesting premise, but kind of wasted for me just a little bit. Only because, I don't know, it felt like we don't really know what Reddington's plan was to begin with. We know it changed at the end whenever he realized he could make a friend in a wealthy billionaire, but we don't know why he wanted to track her down in the first place. Her whole story kind of felt like it was important, but then it wasn't because we spent a whole lot of time on other stuff instead. And I don't know, I feel like could have maybe done a little bit more with this, but in the end, I do like what was said by Reddington, his whole monologue about his worldview compared to her worldview and all of that. I think that was well done. I think it was very well written. However, I don't feel like there was enough build up to that moment to really have it hit as hard as it could. I feel like we spent too much time getting dragged away into the other side stories to really feel that moment when it happens. So it was good, just not quite built up as much as I think they wanted it to. As far as the side stories are concerned, I think they're pretty good. I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to go from here. The whole thing with Wrestler, still kind of annoyed by Wrestler and what he's doing and all the stupid stuff he's doing at the moment. However, leading to the fact that Park decides to give him her pee for the drug test, only to find out apparently she has tumors. It's a yeah, I guess that's what this was leading to. Very interesting. I don't know what they're going to do from here with that. I don't know why this is a story she's getting, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it at least. And as far as Cooper, his is probably the most intriguing to me because it feels like maybe somebody's framing him, or maybe he just got so blackout drunk that he lost his mind and decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to go shoot up this guy that my wife was having an affair with. Which I don't remember this story. I feel like it probably happened because those flashback scenes seemed like they happened before this season. It doesn't seem like there was something that was recorded specifically for this season. So maybe this was something that happened before and I've forgotten about it. But it seems like it was his gun that was used to shoot this guy and kill him. And he also doesn't remember anything from the night before. So yeah, it's got me asking questions. I'm invested. I want to know more. I don't think this is going to be the main story for this season. I feel like that would be a little too simple as far as why did we come back? Why did we get the team back together? Maybe it's connected to that. Maybe whoever is working things in the background that I'm assuming Reddington's going to be trying to track down, because it feels like there was something that sparked Reddington's interest and got him wanting to come back and finish up the Blacklist. Maybe whoever sparked Red's interest, maybe they're the ones that did something about Cooper. But yeah, I feel like it's a good setup though. All in all, it was a very good episode. Nothing really stood out to me as really bad or really good. It was all enjoyable. I had a good time with it. So yeah, that's about it for this one. On to the next one. I'll see you there. And now, episode 5, Benjamin T. Okara. So this was, again, more interesting on the outside of the Blacklister than it was as far as the actual Blacklister was concerned. Because his story was pretty similar to the one episode that I remember where the AI was actually working to kill off all the people who were working on AI and then take itself down. It's kind of the same premise where this guy had been working on building this terrible weapon that could be used through walls to take down people. He'd been working on it. He goes and kills all the people he was working with and then kills himself and destroys the thing in the process because he doesn't want it to get out. So basically the same thing as that one AI episode, which I actually thought that one was a lot more interesting because it's a twist on that concept that I've not seen done before. This is something I've seen done before. So it wasn't quite as interesting to me. It was pretty bland, if I'm being honest. The idea of the weapon itself was pretty cool, but everything else was just very straightforward and kind of predictable, honestly. Everything on the outside, though, is definitely where my interest is at the moment. First of all, everything to do with Cooper. I have no idea where it's going to go. We see he had his wife lie for him. He has lied to the police now about the whole situation. And yeah, it makes me feel like somebody is definitely framing him. Because if it weren't somebody was framing him and it was he did go and do it, I feel like they would be a lot more, I don't know, I guess a lot more straightforward to like, no, maybe I should just be honest about this whole thing and then just come clean about everything, and the police would be looking into it and probably would be trusting him and be like, you came forward about this. We have a feeling somebody probably drugged you, stole your gun. We'll look into it more. And then it would be found out later that he's actually the one that did it. So the fact that he's hiding this information, he's hiding the fact that it was a bullet from his gun, he's hiding the fact that he was drunk somewhere that night, it kind of makes me feel like it is going to be somebody set him up to make it look like he killed this guy. I just don't know who that would be. Again, it could be somebody behind the scenes maybe trying to work to take down the task force for whatever reason. I don't know what that would be, but maybe something to do with Reddington and everything he's trying to do. Or it could be somebody maybe that we've met before. I don't know who, but it's just, again, my mind is trying to formulate theories about who could possibly be behind this, because it does feel like that's going to be the case, is somebody is behind this whole thing. Everything to do with Park, though, I still don't know where they're going to go with it, but what a turn of events. Because I don't know, just when it was originally, she had cancer, and they couldn't really talk about it because Wrestler's the one that took the test with her urine. It was a weird, convoluted thing that I wasn't really sure how they're going to handle it. Why give Park cancer? Why have her find out in such a convoluted way? Why all this? Why? Well, now in this episode, not only do we find out it's not cancer, we find out it was because she was pregnant, which I will say I did have a slight idea about that when Wrestler said something about the hormones being off. There was a part of me that was like, I wonder if she's pregnant, but then they said cancer. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that puts it off the table. But yeah, the fact that it shows cancer if it was actually urine from a man, but because it was urine from a woman, that actually indicates pregnancy. I like that twist, and I feel like it's a good setup for that moment of, holy crap, she was pregnant. But you throw in the added just terrible news where she got hit with this, I think the thing that the weapon that the guy was using, I think it had like radiation or something. But yeah, she gets hit with this weapon and it apparently killed the baby. That sucks. Because the thing is, she'd been lying to her husband about this whole thing. So he finds out now because of all of this. So he's already pissed off about that. And then to find out that they lost a baby in the process. That's just that double whammy that this is why he didn't want you out on the field. It almost justifies his mindset. From his point of view, he didn't want you out in the field because he was concerned about your safety. Now you went out in the field behind his back, and then not only did you get hurt, you also, you killed the baby that was inside of you. That, for him, is just, it's basically confirming his worst fears. And it's one of those, he won't say, I told you so, but in his mind, he'll be thinking it. Because I think we all we get that way. When something happens that we knew was going to happen, we tried to warn against it, people don't listen, blah, blah, blah. If you have that situation, even if it's something bad, say you have a friend who is dating somebody that you think is just not good for them. You know it's not good for them. You know it's not going to work out. You know that this person they're dating is going to be bad for them. You try to tell them, they don't listen. In that moment, whenever things go bad and when things do eventually separate and they have to deal with that heartbreak, it's so hard because I think a lot of us in that situation would probably feel like, I tried to tell you, I told you so. It's more so of a frustration of, I tried to give you this advice, I tried to tell you this and you just ignored me. You ignored what I was trying to say, and then I was right. It's a weird feeling because obviously you also still feel bad for them. And I wonder how much they're going to tackle with Park and her husband. This idea that he's probably feeling justified in what he was saying. He probably feels not necessarily, what's the word? Venerated? That's not the word, is it? I don't know. But basically, he was right. He was right to be worried about her. He was right to say, hey, you probably shouldn't be out in the field. He was right in all of this. And now, because of her ignoring his advice, they've now lost a baby. There's going to be such a mixture of, he's got to love her. I'm sure he does love her. We haven't seen much of their relationship. Maybe we'll find out there are some problems there that we were not aware of before. But assuming he's a good guy, there will be that side of him that he's going to want to be there for her. He's going to want to comfort her, take care of her in this time where she's going to be dealing with this loss. But it's going to be hard for him to balance that while also sitting there going, I tried to tell you, and you didn't listen to me. I don't know how that's going to go. And I feel like that is really what's intrigued me at the moment. Because obviously, the whole Park being pregnant thing, it's not really a story anymore. So I feel like it's going to be more so, how does he handle this situation? Do they manage to survive through this? Does their relationship survive through this? Not necessarily something that I'm sitting here going, ooh, I can't wait to see more. But I'm curious to see how they're going to handle it, is more so why I am actually looking forward to seeing what happens next. Because it's an interesting setup. If the writers are good, if the writers know what they're doing, they can actually make this an intriguing story that does bring out some emotion from the audience. If they don't know what they're doing, then they can make it just your standard generic, hey, we need something going on the outside because we can't just have the team tracking down blacklisters. So let's just have this story subplot of Parker and her husband are having relationship issues because she lied to him and he found out, and now they're going to argue about it, and by the end of it, they'll either be together or they won't be. And I feel like that's what a lot of shows would do. And that's very straightforward. It's very bland. The writers of the show, for the most part, have shown a little bit more, I guess, cleverness when they write. So I feel like this could lead to something outside of just, hey, are they going to break up or are they not? Are they going to get divorced or are they not? I feel like there's more there that you can really tackle with this. So we'll see if they do that. The other thing is Reddington and Dembe having their little spat as well. It's pretty interesting. I feel like I hope it doesn't go on for too much longer, but there is that feeling from Reddington's side of, I was happy. I've come back to all of this, and now I'm getting betrayed. I feel like I'm losing my friends. Dembe is trying to be an FBI agent, but obviously he still wants to help people to the best of his ability, and he knows Reddington's resources are available to him if he needs them. There's that mixture of trying to do his job and be a good FBI agent, but also knowing that he has the resources of Reddington there that would help him do his job better. So it's almost kind of trying to be a balancing act for him up to this point, but now it sort of feels like he's officially sort of, okay, I'm not going to use your resources anymore. I'm going to be my own man now. I don't know if we'll ever find out what was in that package that Reddington gave to him, but maybe we'll find that out in the next episode. All in all, though, so far so good for these 2 episodes returning back after a long period of not watching this show. So yeah, look forward to seeing what happens next. On to the 6th episode. I'll see you there. And now, episode 6, Dr. Roberta Sand, Ph.D. It's okay. I think what this means for Reddington going forward will be kind of interesting to see how he utilizes Dr. Sand as a therapist. But her whole story is just kind of, okay, so she convinces people to be the worst version of themselves. Okay. I don't know, it felt very lackluster compared to some of the blacklisters we've had. The stuff on the outside is both interesting and not interesting. The stuff with Park I don't find very interesting at the moment. I don't feel like they're really utilizing where this story can go. It feels like they're just going to, right now at least, they're going down the typical, okay, so he doesn't trust her because she lied to her. Or she lied to him. That's kind of all they've done with it. He's sitting there going, I don't know you. Like, I don't even know how I could be with somebody that I don't know. And that's just kind of all it was. And by the end of it, she was accepting who she was, the darkness inside, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's kind of all they've done so far, and that's not super interesting, unfortunately, for me. So, again, I think there's a lot of different ways they could probably take this that could be more fun and more interesting, but if they're just going to go to oh, there's mistrust now and they have to work through that mistrust, I feel like that's just way too simple. There's got to be. I thought maybe we'd learn more about him. Maybe there's something that we don't know about their relationship yet. I don't know, just anything. But it doesn't feel like they're doing that. It feels like it's just very straightforward at the moment. The stuff with Cooper, however, I do find kind of interesting because not only are we now seeing we've got the one guy that's willing to help him out and basically save his life by faking the whole ballistics match, but now we're finding out somebody's blackmailing him, and it does make me wonder if the guy who faked the ballistics test, if maybe he has something to do with it, because the idea that somebody would know that they were about to meet and have the foreknowledge to not just record it but also record the audio so they have those tapes as well. It feels like maybe I know his Cooper's nickname for him is Lou. I don't remember if that's short for Lewis or not, but it feels like he might have something to do with it if that's the case. If somebody knew to record that meeting, that feels like he told somebody to record it. Now, is he the one that set this whole thing up? I don't know. Maybe somebody's just using him to blackmail Cooper. And why is somebody blackmailing Cooper? I don't know. But that kind of feels like where this is all leading towards is they drugged Cooper at that party, they took his gun, they shot the guy, and now they're basically trying to convince Cooper, hey, you're the one that did this, so that they can blackmail him. I don't really know why, though. I don't know what they would gain from it. I don't understand who would benefit from this. So yeah, there's a lot of questions I still have about it, but it's very intriguing, and I like the mystery that they presented me so far. The stuff with Reddington and this letter that he told Dembe to give to Elizabeth after he was gone, I don't know where that's going to go, but it's also got me very intrigued. Finding out that apparently Dembe already gave it to Elizabeth before she was killed, and maybe that's why she hesitated to shoot Reddington at the end. I think that's kind of interesting. Because it felt like that is kind of what ended up killing her, is the fact she didn't pull that trigger. So knowing that there was a reason she didn't pull it, that knowing that there is some information in this letter, I guess the whole truth about what was going on with Reddington and why she was unwilling to kill him, I don't know. It's definitely, again, it's gripping me because I want to know. It's interesting because it's that same feeling that I've had before with the Blacklist. There's some secret about Reddington that we don't know, that some other people do know, and he's trying to keep it hidden. He's trying to keep that information hidden. And it's interesting because we now see this is what can happen if that information gets out. Liz was killed because Dembe gave her this information before she needed to know, and that caused her to hesitate shooting Red, and that got her shot from behind. It's kind of an interesting concept, and I'm glad we're taking this concept that we've seen in the Blacklist of hiding information about Red and kind of flipping it on its head, where now we still don't know as the audience what that information is, but we're seeing that Dembe might have given this information to Liz too soon. And how is Red going to react to this? And the fact he finds out Dembe betrayed his trust, I don't know. It's got me guessing about what steps are going to be taken next, what Red is going to do in all of this. Is he going to go after Dembe? Is he going to punish him somehow? I don't know. It's such an interesting plot line that they've constructed so far, and something that I feel like, again, you've got a lot of good possibilities to take from here as far as how that story's going to end. And it's got me excited. I think what they're building up here, it's very similar in a sense to what Reddington and Liz had for all of these seasons. This kind of general mistrust. Liz working with the FBI, Reddington working with them, but more so helping himself by working with them. And there was that bond, that connection there that they felt like they were both using each other. Liz felt like he was helping her further her career, stopping all these bad guys, but Reddington was using her in the task force to basically finance his own goals or whatever. This building of this intelligence network that he said was supposed to be all for Liz. There was that kind of back and forth between the two of them. It almost feels like Dembe has now taken that role, so much so to the point where it now kind of feels like there's a mistrust between Reddington and Dembe. So it really has almost basically replaced the Liz on the show with Dembe at this point. Because there is still, even though it's not the same connection that Reddington and Liz had, there's still that similar type of deep connection there that Reddington, he sees that he was betrayed by Dembe. He sees that Dembe went behind his back, did something he wasn't supposed to do, and got Liz killed, more than likely. But there's still that appreciation, that respect, that love for his friend that he doesn't want to necessarily just act out of rage and frustration and betrayal and just basically go after him. So I like how they've, again, set this all up. It feels like something that I could see the possibilities. I could see the potential paths that this story might take that could really make it exciting and fun to watch, and seeing how are they going to work together while also clearly they don't really get along at the moment. So, yeah, I think all in all, it's a good episode. It's so far been a mostly kind of build up, I think, for what the rest of the season is going to hold. We've got a lot of moving pieces on the outside of all these different blacklisters. And I do hope that we start to get kind of a sense of where the main story is going for this season, because it does feel like Reddington had a plan in mind when he was returning from this, what do you call it, hiatus, I think. He had something that he wanted to return to do. So is there something going on that we are not seeing at the moment? Maybe there's some bad guy working behind the scenes that he's going to try to stop. I don't know. But I hope we get to see that soon, because I want to feel like this season is going towards an end goal. And at the moment, it kind of all feels like a bunch of different little side stories that are happening separate from each other. And I don't feel like that's quite the same conciseness that I typically expect from this show. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next. That's it for me, though. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Blacklist reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.